welcome to the Temple of Solace. I am Cassandra Nostalgia, and I stumbled on something really interesting that I'd like to share with those of you who are interested in hypnotherapy, but perhaps wondering, why does it work and how does it work? So, at the HeartMath Research Center in California, this cellular biologist, his name is Glenn Reen, I believe is how you pronounce it. He has his PhD, and he ran this experiment where he tested healers' ability to influence biological systems. And he did this by running this sequence of experiments. So he had healers hold test tubes containing DNA. And DNA in itself is super durable and a really enduring substance. So he chose wisely. So the first group, who were both trained and well-versed in creating this kind of heart-focused coherence, which essentially is harnessing strong, elevated feelings such as love, being able to really channel that. So this first group held vials containing DNA samples that were suspended in deionized water. Now, after careful analysis, there were absolutely no noteworthy changes in this first group. So, a second group conducted the very same experiment, but rather than merely conjuring up this positive emotional state, they also held an intention, as in a thought, to either wind or unwind the strands of DNA. Now, these results were incredibly compelling. Not only were there momentous changes in the shape of the DNA samples, but some samples were wound or unwound as much as 25%. Now keep in mind, this was all conducted within a 2-minute period of time. 25%. And then a third group of trained subjects merely held a clear intent to change the DNA void of any kind of positive emotion. So they were using only thought to influence matter. And this one resulted in no changes to the DNA sample whatsoever. So it was clear that when test subjects were able to harness both the power of clear thought, clear objectives, and align it with positive emotions, they were able to create the intended effect. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I absolutely love, mentions in his book, Evolve Your Brain, he says, quantum physicists unveil that a person observing tiny particles that make up atoms affects the expression of energy and matter. Electrons exist simultaneously in an infinite array of possibilities in an invisible field of energy. But only when an observer focuses attention on any location of any one electron does that electron appear. So in other words, a particle cannot manifest in reality, that is ordinary time or space as we know it, until we observe it. And this is known as the observer effect. So what does this essentially mean? It means that you are mindful matter. And if your mind can influence the appearance of an electron, can wind and unwind strands of DNA, then theoretically, it can influence the appearance of any possibility. So this brings me to my endless fascination and appreciation for the tool that is hypnosis. And this is a tool that's been around since 1550 BC, used in ancient Egyptian sleep temples to access the immeasurable creative potentialities of the subconscious mind. And the beauty of this is that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It absorbs the hypnotic journey as true. So when we take an imaginary paintbrush and we recolor our inner world with new intentions, with new thoughts, with new feelings, new visuals, processing and healing over old wounds and visualizing this brand new way of being, of existing, what we're doing is essentially rewriting our life script. And we end up shifting our frequency, or better known as our energetic signature. So in effect, with sustained attention, you end up deprogramming old thinking and feeling patterns, and then reprogramming your brain, your mind, with new patterns of thinking and feeling, based on who you want to be, rather than repeating those, that outdated model of who you currently are. And what's most interesting about this is that when you condition the body with a new mind, the body must follow in suit. And reality must respond to this new mode of existence within you. So this is the point of change. This is self-creation. This is the artist, once again conscious of his or her own power to heal, to transform, and to create a new frequency that shapes a new reality, just as we hold the power to influence the appearance of an electron and unwind strands of DNA. Now, as an artist and a hypnotherapist myself, I've spent a lot of time befriending the subconscious mind, learning and observing the ways in which it plays with reality, and harnessing the power of my own heart and mind while helping others to tune in to their own power. And the power of the heart and mind works its magic within and without, moving mountains, fine-tuning villages. And there are, truthfully, few greater feelings than conscious awareness and knowledge of our own innate capacity for change. So much so that I actually wrote 2 albums, Chrysalis and Imago, with my bandmate Roy Ganan, based purely on the concept of metamorphosis. So I'll end this by asking you something. You wisdom seeker, cosmic creature, you. You definitely are if you've arrived here and you've sat through this entire thing. Now, if a particle cannot manifest in reality until we observe it, why not be mindful of what you choose to observe? And furthermore, why not feed and fuel the aliveness of a life worthy of your sacred temple?